If you've ever tried to learn a new skill, maybe it's coding, a new video game, or just, getting ready for a huge history test, you know the feeling.
Oh, yeah. You put in the hours, you practice, and you still feel like you're stuck in the same place. It's so frustrating.
It really is. And that's because most of us think that success comes from just practicing harder.
Right, from just brute forcing it. But if you look at elite athletes or top tier musicians or amazing software developers, they don't just put in more time, they practice smarter.
Exactly. And that's what we're getting into today. We want to give you the science-backed toolkit, the actual strategies you can use to stop wasting your effort and start seeing real, measurable progress.
And that all starts before you even open a book or pick up an instrument. It really begins with preparation, and
hmm
specifically with setting the right kind of goal.
I think we can all agree that a goal like, I'm going to do my homework,
Yeah.
is, well, it's not very helpful.
It's way too vague. It's like saying you want to drive across the country, but you don't put a destination into your GPS. You have no idea what success even looks like.
So what's the alternative?
You need micro goals. You have to define exactly what you want to achieve in, say, the next 30 minutes. So instead of practice guitar,
It should be something like, I will play the G major scale perfectly and slowly 5 times.
exactly that. The scale of the goal matters so much because a huge project just overwhelms your brain. You start to procrastinate.
But if you focus on one tiny thing, like 3 new vocabulary words or just 2 specific math problems, you avoid that mental shutdown.
And you get an immediate win. When you physically write down that small goal and then check it off, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine. That's the chemical for motivation.
That feeling of real progress is what keeps you going, even when it gets tough.
Okay, so your mental GPS is set. Now you have to look at your physical space, your environment,
It can be a performance multiplier
or
or
total performance killer. There's really no in between.
your brain is terrible at multitasking. We know that. So to get real concentration, you need a dedicated workspace.
It doesn't have to be fancy, just a quiet spot, good lighting, a decent chair. But using the same spot every day signals to your brain, okay, this is where we do serious work.
Let's talk about the biggest performance killer for any student today.
The phone.
The phone,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you want to achieve any kind of deep focus, you have to treat your phone like it's poison.
It's not just a distraction when it buzzes. A single notification can completely break your momentum. The rule has to be simple and absolute.
Put it in another room.
Yes, not just face down on the desk, not just on silent, physically in another room.
And one last tip for the environment.
Yeah.
Have all your materials ready before you start. Your books, pens, your laptop charger.
Every time you have to get up to find something, you break that fragile state of focus. So tidy your desk first. A clear space helps create a clear mind.
Okay, so the stage is set. Now, how do we get from being distracted and unfocused to that state of deep concentration?
There's a bridge, and that bridge is the warm-up.
Most people think of warm-ups as physical, right? An athlete stretching, a dancer doing some exercises.
But for learning, it's mostly mental. It's that first 5 or 10 minutes you spend just getting the gears in your brain to start turning.
So what does a good mental warm-up look like?
A great one is to just briefly review the material you learned yesterday. Don't jump into the hardest new problem right away.
I see. So a quick review refreshes your memory and kind of tells your brain what to focus on before you start the heavy lifting.
Exactly. If you skip that and jump straight into something super complex, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going from 0 to 100 instantly, and your brain just isn't ready.
And speaking of those really complex problems, what happens when you're staring at something that just feels huge, impossible?
That's where you use what we call the puzzle method.
The puzzle method.
Okay, when you face a giant task, like a 20-step math proof or a really dense chapter in a textbook, your first move should always be to break it into smaller pieces.
Like a boss battle in a video game.
That's a perfect analogy. You don't just run in swinging wildly. You learn its patterns. You find the weak spots. You turn one massive challenge into a series of smaller, manageable fights.
So for a textbook chapter, you wouldn't try to read all 10 pages at once.
No, you'd focus on one single paragraph. You'd read it until you could summarize its main idea perfectly, and only then would you move on.
And for something physical, like learning a song on a keyboard,
You slow it down and focus only on the first few notes or the first chord change until it's flawless. This stops you from rushing, which is the #1 cause of mistakes.
that brings us to a really interesting point about accuracy versus speed. I think most of us, especially when we're competitive, think that going faster makes you get better faster.
And it is 100% not true. It is probably the single biggest mistake people make when practicing.
How so?
If you try to go fast before you're accurate, you are literally training your brain to repeat the error. Every time you make a mistake at high speed, you're reinforcing the wrong way of doing it.
So you're digging the wrong path deeper. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Precisely. You have to practice at a pace that is so slow that it's almost impossible to make a mistake.
So slow it feels weird.
Yes. For a musician, that might mean using a metronome at a super slow tempo. For a math problem, it means writing out every single step deliberately.
And how do you know when it's okay to speed up?
There's a rule for it. Only increase your speed a tiny bit once you've done the task perfectly 5 times in a row. That ensures the right habit is locked in before you push yourself.
Okay, so we've got accuracy down. Now we need to make it stick. We need to talk about memory, and that means repetition.
It can feel a little boring sometimes, but repetition is the physical mechanism for moving knowledge from your short-term holding area into your long-term memory.
You used an analogy before about carving a path in wet cement.
Yeah, the more you walk that same path, the deeper and more permanent the groove becomes in your brain. You're literally building a new neural pathway.
But, and this is the important part, you have to be repeating the correct version.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be quality repetition. You have to be fully engaged and thinking, not just mindlessly going through the motions. If you practice a mistake, you're just making that mistake permanent.
And there's a smarter way to repeat things than just cramming.
Right. It's called spaced repetition. So instead of studying for 3 hours on a Sunday night,
You do 30 minutes on Monday, another 30 on Wednesday, and 30 more on Friday.
yes, your brain retains information far, far better when it has time between sessions to process and consolidate what it's learned. Cramming just doesn't work for long-term memory.
Now, for something that sounds like science fiction but is totally real, you don't always need your instrument or your books to practice.
Not at all. We're talking about mental visualization.
This is a technique that Olympians and surgeons and public speakers all use.
They do. Because when you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself performing a task perfectly, you activate many of the same areas in your brain that you use during actual physical practice.
So if I'm nervous about a presentation, I could just sit on the bus, close my eyes, and mentally rehearse it. See myself delivering it perfectly.
Exactly. Visualize the room, the words, the feeling of confidence. For a gamer, it's feeling the controls. For a math problem, it's feeling the certainty as you solve it. This builds confidence and reduces anxiety.
And when you combine mental and physical practice, your improvement just skyrockets.
It's a huge advantage. But as you practice, how do you know you're not accidentally cementing some bad habits? You need feedback.
Objective feedback. And the best way to get that is to use technology for self-correction.
Just record yourself. Use your phone's audio or video recorder. When you're in the middle of doing something, you miss the small errors.
A little stumble in your speech, maybe your posture's off, you rush one section of a song.
But when you watch or listen to the recording, you become your own teacher. You can see it clearly.
Then you can grab a pen and take specific notes. Okay, at the 2-minute mark, I rushed.
And that makes your practice so much more efficient. You don't have to re-practice the whole thing. You just go back and fix that one specific targeted spot.
Now, all this intense focus work is great, but your brain is a muscle, and muscles get tired.
They do, and that means we absolutely have to talk about taking breaks.
The research on this is really clear, isn't it?
It is. The brain can only sustain that high level of focus for about 25 to 30 minutes at a time. After that, you need to take a 5-minute break.
And during that break, there's one critical rule.
Stand up, stretch, move away from your desk, and whatever you do, do not look at another screen.
That's the key. If you switch from your homework to your phone, your brain hasn't actually rested. It's just switched to another demanding task.
Right. Breaks are not wasted time. They are when your brain processes and cements what you just learned. You come back refreshed and ready to focus again.
All right, now for maybe the most important ingredient of all. The one that separates people who get good from people who become masters.
Consistency.
It's the compound effect.
It is. Practicing for 20 minutes every single day is so much better than practicing for 5 hours once a week. It's not even close.
That daily practice keeps the information fresh. It stops your brain from forgetting the progress you made the day before. You're building momentum.
A great tip is to try and practice at the same time every day to build a routine. And even on days you feel tired, just do 5 minutes of simple review.
Just to keep the chain from breaking.
Exactly. Over a year, Those small daily efforts add up to massive, massive improvement.
But with all that pushing, you're going to get frustrated. It's inevitable.
It is perfectly normal, especially when you're learning something really difficult.
So when you hit that wall, when you just want to quit, what do?
First, stay calm. Take a deep breath. Instead of just trying the same thing over and over again and getting angrier, switch to an easier task for a few minutes. Just reset your brain.
It helps to reframe what frustration is, doesn't it?
It does. Frustration is often a sign that you are right at the edge of your abilities. It's a sign your brain is actually growing and building new connections. It's not a sign of failure.
So being patient with yourself and learning to handle those challenges is a skill in itself.
One of the most important skills you can learn.
And to help with that persistence, you need to be able to see your progress. You need to prove to yourself that you're getting better.
This is where a practice journal or a log comes in. Just a simple notebook where you write down what you worked on and what was hard.
Why is that so powerful?
Because your brain tricks you. Once you master something, you forget how difficult it used to be. You think it was always easy.
But looking back at your old journal entries from a month ago gives you undeniable proof. I used to struggle with that. It's incredibly motivating.
And another great visual trick is to use a calendar. Put a big X on. Every single day you have a successful practice session.
You create a chain.
You create a chain, and you won't want to be the one to break it. It's a powerful psychological tool.
So to wrap it all up, the toolkit is clear. Set tiny, specific goals.
Prioritize slow, perfect accuracy over speed. Always.
Use spaced repetition to build those permanent pathways in your brain. And just be consistent.
Mastery isn't about some kind of natural talent you're born with. It's the direct result of using smart, proven strategies day in and day out.
So use these techniques. Start today. And think about this. What's the one skill you struggle with the most? What is one tiny goal you can set right now to start practicing it perfectly, slowly, just 5 times? See you next time.